Welcome to Soul Spirit Stories, where every story carries a powerful lesson about life, choices, and redemption. Sit back, relax, and open your heart, because today's story will remind you that appearances can be deceiving and power can vanish in a moment. The metal gate slammed shut with a heavy echo. Another day in Stone Ridge Penitentiary, a place where men either broke or became something worse. Inside the crowded yard, the prisoners moved like shadows, some playing cards, some working out, and others just watching. Watching was what Reaper did best. He wasn't just another inmate, he was the gang leader, the one everyone feared. Tall, muscular, covered in tattoos that told stories of battles fought inside these walls. When Reaper walked, the air changed. Guards looked away. Inmates stepped aside. He ruled this prison like a king behind bars. But that day, something different happened. A new bus arrived, new faces, new fears, and among them was a man who didn't belong. He was quiet, calm, not flinching even as the inmates shouted at the new arrivals. He looked around, not with fear, but with a strange stillness. His name was Eli Turner. He didn't look like a fighter. No tattoos. No scars, no gang colors, just a man in his 30s. Eyes too calm for a place like this. Reaper saw him and smirked. Fresh meat, he muttered. His gang laughed behind him. Later that day, as the inmates lined up for dinner, Reaper walked up to Eli. "Hey, new guy," Reaper said, tapping his tray. "You in the wrong line. That's my spot." Eli looked at him, expressionless. "There's no name on it," he said quietly. The cafeteria fell silent. No one talked to Reaper like that. Reaper's smile faded. "You got a mouth on you, huh? You better learn some respect, rookie." But Eli didn't move. He just stared, calm and unbothered, and somehow that silence was louder than any insult. Reaper shoved him hard. The tray clattered to the floor. "Pick it up," Reaper growled. Eli knelt down slowly, picked it up, and walked away without a word. That silence, it burned deeper than a punch. That night, Reaper couldn't sleep. Something about that man bothered him. No fear, no anger, just peace. And in prison, peace meant danger. The next morning, Reaper told his right-hand man, Snake, "I don't like that new guy. Keep an eye on him." Snake nodded, but later came back shaking his head. "Boss, he don't talk to nobody. Don't look at nobody. Just reads in his cell. Weird stuff, psychology, meditation, military ethics. He's not normal," Reaper scoffed. "Military? You kidding me? That guy wouldn't last a minute in a fight." But Snake wasn't so sure. Days passed. Every time Reaper tried to provoke Eli, the man would just walk away, calm, quiet, never fighting back. That made the other inmates talk. "Maybe the new guy's crazy," one said. "Or maybe he's planning something," another whispered. And soon, the whispers reached the guards too. Even the warden called Reaper one day. "Lay off the new guy, Reaper." "That's an order," Reaper frowned. "Why do you care, warden? He your nephew or something?" The warden just looked at him. Just a friendly warning. That only made Reaper more curious and more determined. One afternoon, in the yard, Reaper cornered Eli again. "All right. Preacher boy," Reaper sneered. "I gave you time to settle. Now it's time to show some respect." Eli sighed softly, closing the small book he was reading. "What do you want from me, Reaper?" "I want you to know your place." Eli looked at him with those calm, piercing eyes. "I know exactly where I am. The question is, do you?" Reaper's gang laughed, but the laughter quickly faded when Eli stood up. He wasn't tall, but the way he moved, quiet, controlled, sent a chill through the air. Reaper shoved him again. "Hit me!" he shouted. Eli just whispered, "I don't fight people who've already lost." Reaper froze. "What did you say?" Eli looked right into his eyes. "You've already lost your freedom, your peace, your soul. Beating you won't change that." The yard went silent. Reaper swung a punch, fast and furious, but before it landed, Eli moved. In one motion he blocked it, twisted Reaper's arm, and pinned him to the ground. It was over in seconds. The guards rushed in, shouting, pulling them apart. Reaper was shocked. That move, it wasn't random. It was military. The warden's warning echoed in his mind. That night, Reaper asked a guard, "Who is he?" "That new guy, Eli Turner." "What's his deal?" The guard hesitated. "You really don't know?" Reaper frowned. "No, tell me." The guard leaned closer. Eli Turner was a Special Forces commander. Served 3 tours overseas. Saved dozens of men from ambushes. Got decorated, then vanished after his team was killed in an inside job. Rumor says he turned himself in to protect someone. That man ain't a criminal. He's a ghost. Reaper felt his chest tighten. All those times he'd mocked Eli, the quiet, the calm, the patience. It wasn't fear. It was discipline. For the first time in years, Reaper felt something he hadn't felt since he was a kid. Shame. Days passed. No one saw Eli much. He kept to himself, reading, writing letters he never mailed. But then, one day, chaos broke out. A rival gang started a riot in the mess hall. Tables overturned. Shouts echoed. Blades flashed. Reaper's men were cornered. Snake got stabbed in the leg. Reaper looked around, trapped, bleeding from his arm. And then, out of nowhere, Eli appeared. He moved like lightning, disarmed 2 attackers, kicked a weapon under the table, and dragged Reaper to safety, not for power, not for respect, but simply because it was the right thing to do. After the riot, the guards took statements. Reaper sat in the infirmary, arm bandaged, staring at Eli sitting quietly on the other side. Finally, Reaper got up and walked to him. "Why'd you save me?" he asked. Eli looked up. "Because every man deserves a chance to be more than his mistakes." Reaper swallowed hard. "You knew I wanted to hurt you. You could have let them finish me." Eli gave a faint smile. "I don't fight enemies, Reaper. I heal soldiers." Those words hit harder than any punch. Weeks went by. Reaper stopped picking fights. He started reading the same books Eli did. Sometimes they'd talk in the yard about life, guilt, choices. And for the first time, Reaper began to see himself, not as a leader of fear, but as a man trying to remember who he was before the world hardened him. One evening, as the sun set behind the barbed wire, Eli said quietly, "You know, Reaper, there's a world out there waiting for men who want to change. You just have to decide when to stop being the monster they made you." Reaper nodded slowly. "Maybe it's time," he whispered. When Eli's parole finally came through, he packed his few belongings. Reaper stood by the gate, watching. "Guess this is goodbye," Reaper said. Eli turned, eyes kind but firm. "No, it's just the beginning. You have a second chance too. Start by forgiving yourself." Reaper didn't know what to say. For the first time in years, he felt hope. As the gates opened and Eli walked into the fading light, Reaper whispered, "Thank you." Eli didn't turn back, but his voice carried across the yard. "Don't thank me. Live better." And just like that, the man who walked in as a mystery left behind a legend that taught even the hardest man in prison that true strength isn't about fear, but it's about forgiveness. Narrator's closing lines. "Sometimes life puts us in cages, not to punish us, but to remind us what freedom really means. And sometimes, the person we judge the most becomes the one who sets us free." This was the story of Reaper and Eli, 2 men trapped by walls, but freed by understanding. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Soul Spirit Stories, where every tale reminds you that the soul's light never dies, even in the darkest places.